good in Europe.
Acacia, Warlike Goddess, amazing. Warlike Goddess purchased for $30,000. She's banked more than $2.5 million so far. We welcome Maggie Wolfendale to the broadcast. Horseback Maggie, what are you seeing in the warm-up?
Here on the track with my new friend Stitch, as we'll take a look at some of these horses here on the track getting ready for this Grade 1 New York. And we'll begin with some horses that have international flair, including number 2 English Rose, as she does wear a hood to race in, and you can see why. She has been revved from the word go. A horse that in her stateside debut there at Keeneland was quite keen. We'll see. She's displaying all the characteristics of a horse that will do just the same. Moving on to number 5, American Sonia, who is not a foreign customer when it comes to American racing. Another one that does like to be prominent early, and I don't mind her French form coming in here. She really looks good. She's warming up without the pony here for trainer Joseph O'Brien as Frankie Dettori in the iron. She does wear those cheek pieces, but she's settled in quite nicely. I like the way she's handling herself. As we'll take a look at Warlike Goddess, who is coming back from that layoff, and she's the normal good Warlike Goddess, meaning that she has all that bubbly energy. Her coat looks fantastic, and she looks fit enough to me. She's always one that's a little bit on the lighter side, but I like the fact that she is carrying some conditioning. I think that's a good sign. But Lafitte, the horse that looks best throughout the preliminaries here is one that's a huge price, as she pulled off an upset last time out against her stablemates for Chad Brown, and that's Royalty Interest in here. She looks phenomenal. A filly that keeps improving with every start.
Pedal to the metal. Eric Cancel, Royalty Interest. We'll see. The other Brown trainee, McCulloch, ridden by Arad Ortiz. That was yesterday. He gets thrown. Arad Ortiz lands awkwardly on his ankle. He didn't ride the rest of the afternoon. He went to the hospital. X-rays clean. MRI clean. Back in action this afternoon, and right away he strikes in the opener. It has been a monster afternoon, Richie, for star jockey Arad Ortiz. 4 wins. You see here the ankle still bothering him, but not affecting his performance in the saddle.
Yeah, jumped down, made sure to land on his right foot. And what can you say about riders? They're so tough, pound for pound, the toughest athletes. They're warriors. And hey, you know what? Your foot is a long way from the heart.
How important is the ankle as for a rider? I mean, you know, like basketball, it's got to be the most important thing. How about for a rider?
Well, it's huge because you're always riding down into your heels, so there's a lot of flexion on your ankle.
For your top selection, Andy, good news. Frankie Dettori, no such issues on American Sonia, so currently 6-1.
Yeah, American Sonia ran well, very well to be second here on a boggy course in the Saratoga Oaks. But I thought her last race over in France was actually the best race she ever ran. Her first race as a 4-year-old. Feels like an improving horse to me, and I think Joseph O'Brien has live horses in both this race and the Manhattan tomorrow.
Richie, what'd you see with number 6, Fev Rover, as Bill Mott, the Hall of Famer, looks on hand? Let's check in with Maggie.
Saw Lafitte, as you saw, the outrider, that's my man Jesse Costa, who Stitch does belong to. He jumped off his pony to assist Javier Castellano, and Fev Rover, who was really kind of undone in the paddock. I thought she had settled down once getting out here on the racetrack, but she kind of did a little sidestep and feeling herself out here. She's a little bit too wound up and a little too washy for me coming in as a fresh horse, Lafitte.
Wound up, aggressive, Andy, and that's her running style. Fev Rover normally forwardly placed.
You'd have to think she's going to go. Now, on paper, maybe a horse like the 8B or Best could be forward, but I think the number 12, Royalty Interest, who was entered as a rabbit last time and slowed the pace down enough to be able to pull off the upset, but I think she's going to be in there to at least ensure a fast pace for her stablemate, McCulloch, down the rail.
Royalty Interest, second at 2 for trainer Chad Brown. Brown looking for back-to-back Grade 1 wins on the afternoon. Just won the Justa game, now trying for this Grade 1 New York. JK for Warlike Goddess, your top selection. How does this race need to unfold to give her her best chance to be effective?
Andy just said it. They're going to be aggressive with the 12. Warlike Goddess loves pace to close into. She often doesn't get it. She should get it here today.
See how it all unfolds. Post time for the Grade 1 New York. The voice of the Belmont Stakes in Saratoga, Frank Mirmati, standing by.
Surprisingly.
Warlike Goddess uncharacteristically opens that front of the gate. Assistant starter got a hold of her immediately. All set. And they're off in the New York, presented by Rivers Casino. Didia is very quick, so is Fev Rover. And on the far outside, here's Royalty Interest up to take the lead. Surprisingly, is up close in the early going too, as Sparkle Blue moves up to take fourth. Didia, who broke well, is now sitting about 5 lengths off the lead. Then comes English Rose, who is right next to Be Your Best as they move into the first turn. Aspen Grove between rivals. McCulloch is down at the rail. And Star Fortress just outside of that pair, a dozen lengths off the pacemakers. Then comes Nisi Marie, racing on the inside of Warlike Goddess. And it's another 2 back to American Sonia, who trails. 23 seconds flat for the opening quarter, set by Royalty Interest, who takes them on to the Saratoga backstretch, leading by 1.5 lengths. Surprisingly, is a clear-cut second. It's another 3 back to Fev Rover. The half went in 47 3/5 seconds. Didia is on the inside, just 4 lengths off the pace, moving up just a bit. McCulloch follows her. Sparkle Blue is outside of that rival as they come to the half-mile pole. English Rose kept in the clear in the blue and is now passing rivals. There goes English Rose within 5 lengths of the pace. They are followed by Be Your Best, who's toward the back of the field, along with the gray Star Fortress, who's trying to make some headway. Aspen Grove on the inside in 1:11 4, and American Sonia, who was last, is now moving up 4 wide. They're coming to the quarter pole. Royalty Interest confronted by Surprisingly as they reach the top of the stretch. Surprisingly is up to take the lead. Didia is running a huge race in the center of the course, and she runs by Surprisingly. Full of run. Following her is Nisi Marie on the outside, and then comes McCulloch, but it is Didia in a tremendous performance to win the New York, presented by Rivers Casino. Nisi Marie was second. Warlike Goddess rallied into third. It's close for fourth. McCulloch was in that battle.
Avenging her second place finish in this event a year ago, Didia with Arad Ortiz's brother, Jose Ortiz, in the Grade 1 New York, presented by Rivers Casino.
There's a lot to unpack in this race. There are a lot of trips, a lot of horses out of position, a lot of bunching up into the far turn. Warlike Goddess, to me, suffered through a nightmare trip. She was stymied in traffic everywhere Junior Alvarado wanted to go before finally wiggling through. And the winner got a good trip, was clear but not too wide. The 5-horse American Sonia, extremely wide after being held up way out the back of the pack. This is a race, Andy, I think you got to watch this replay about 15 times to get a real feel for how much trouble a lot of horses had.
In the old days, you and I would be doing a segment on trips and traps, Richie, talking about this one. And you're right, a lot to unpack. But Didia got a clean trip, and she ran well in this race and really improved off her last race, where she ran okay to finish third, going a bit of a shorter distance. And I got to tell you, I'm always happy to see her trainer, Nacho Correas, get a win. A very, very good trainer who doesn't often get that many chances, but has a Breeders' Cup Distaff win to his credit.
When you look down at Didia's page, you see that she's won at so many different distances, right? Like good races at good and great performances at different distances. She's so versatile. She was very good today.
On the other hand, Warlike Goddess, before the race even started, JK, some trouble in the gate, and then here in traffic, banking on the turn.
Yeah, she didn't seem to be cooperating with the gate early, and then she was just in behind horses, stuck. She's a big, long striding horse, in my opinion. She never really had a chance. She ran on well, finished well. It's just unfortunate, 9-2 in here. If she would have got a clean run, I think it would have been a little closer, but I don't think she was beating the winner today.
Can we give some love to Nisi Marie, too?
25-1, 3-7, 10-13, winning jockey Jose Ortiz with Maggie.
Jose, as the guys were just saying, you were the one who was able to avoid all the trouble here with Didia. How'd you do that?
Well, she broke very alert, like she always does, and she put herself in a very good position. I was just telling her what to do and when to go. So I was very patient throughout, and when I asked her to go, I have a lot of horses.
Jose, this is kind of redemption for that that loss last time out. Wiley, talk a little bit about how the added ground was in her favor today.
Well, I think she got to settle nicely. Beautiful turf course today here, and she was loving every step of the way. So I'm just very thankful.
Whoop. Okay. Oh, scratch. Olivia, we're just gonna jog back.
Fired up. Jose Ortiz, Richie, that emotion crossing the wire when he won a race at the highest level, a grade 1 win, specifically here at Saratoga.
Well, it's a sense of accomplishment. You're riding against the best riders in the world, congregated here for this 4-day celebration of racing, against the best horses, grade 1 level, and you've got a crowd. You're playing to a packed house in Saratoga. It always means more when you feel that energy from the fans.
The other side of the story, Andy, what happened with the English filly, English Rose, heavy favorite, a non-factor?
I mean, we didn't get to talk about her much for the race, but we sort of talked in the set. They're overbetting these Godolphin runners as though they can't lose races. And the idea that anybody was under 2-1 in this field seems ludicrous. She's never really run that well. She's never indicated she wants this much distance. And I don't think it's surprising she ran poorly. I think it's surprising, John, that she got bet like she did.
Absolutely, I completely agree.
Let's see how the favorite does in the next race. A DK horse, grade 1 Acorn. There she is. Top-ranked 3-year-old filly in North America, Torpedo Anna. Sensational in the Kentucky Oaks 5 weeks ago at Churchill Downs. Can she rack up another grade 1 win for trainer Kenny McPeak? The Oaks Kentucky Derby sweep with Mystic Dan in the run for the Roses. What'll he do tomorrow in the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga? Welcome back. America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 1 is always brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years doing the usual, unusually well. And tomorrow afternoon/evening, it's on. The Belmont Stakes on Fox. Third and final jewel of the Triple Crown for the first time ever at Saratoga. Coverage begins 4 Eastern. The Belmont only on Fox. Grade 1 New York in the books. Didia, Winner Circle lead-in brought to you by Fasig-Tipton's July sales. Don't miss the July selected Horses of Racing Age sale on July 8th and the July selected Yearling sale on the 9th in Lexington. Where will you be? That filly's in the Winner's Circle. Grade 1 victory, second in this race a season ago. Trainer Nacho Correas, great ride, great trip. Jose Ortiz, Didia in the Grade 1 New York presented by Rivers Casino. Cavalry Charge, Richie turning for home, and Didia the right. Trip strikes at 9-1.
Well, trips are so important in every race, but particularly turf racing. And what Jose Ortiz told Maggie, she broke sharply, was able to establish a position, and that led to her getting a cleaner trip than some of her rivals. Good effort by her. Good effort by Nietzsche Marie. She showed her last race was no fluke.
She has really improved this year off of her 3-year-old form. Her 3-year-old form was good, but nowhere near as good as this form, and I think we've all learned a lesson. Throw out Butch Reed when he ships to New York at your own peril.
Yeah.
And for Didia, what might be in her future, JK, a long-term goal for this type of filly?
I would think filly on mare turf, right? But I think
Breeders' Cup.
Breeders' Cup filly mare turf. But the thing about her is that she's versatile. It doesn't have to just be that. She can run a mile in a 16. I think she could even win going a mile.
Maybe her connections can lend perspective. Standing by with Acacia in the Winner's Circle.
Why can't she run the Diana?
You know, it's something that we were expecting, but I think one usually is not, don't happen what you expect. So this was thrilling. I mean, it's amazing.
And it does really seem that she gets better with a little bit more ground. It seemed like this was really to her liking.
Yeah, I think that the harder the ground, the more she likes. So we have never tried her on on a soft ground, but hopefully we don't have to.
Were you really encouraged when she broke so well today and got herself nicely into the race?
Yeah, well, that was the plan. I mean, he was where we talked with Jose that she's going to be, and I mean, he gave an excellent ride. She did her part, he did his part, and everything was perfect.
Too much celebrating, right? Go celebrate some more. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Lafitte?
Not a household name, Andy, Nacho Correas, but what a trainer.
No, he's a terrific trainer, and he just, you know, you have to get the opportunities to become a household name. And you were talking about winning the Breeders' Cup Distaff a number of years ago with Blue Prize, and also a trainer with great success down in South America. He trained a horse that maybe some of our fans remember named Festine when that horse broke his maiden in South America and went on to be a major Grade 1 winner for Ron McAnally, mostly out in California.
And perhaps long-term, yes, Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf. Short-term, there's a race called the Grade 1 Diana right here at Saratoga.
Might be a good spot for her.
Might be a good spot for her. Didia in the Grade 1 New York. We turn the page. The 3-year-old fillies in the DK Horse Grade 1 Acorn. There she is, Torpedo Anna. Top-ranked 3-year-old filly in the nation, Kentucky Oaks winner, marching into the Saratoga paddock. Torpedo Anna, she's come a long, long way, hasn't she? From the time she was foaled, Torpedo Anna, look at the baby, look at the baby, look at the baby. She's all grown up now. Big girl, big talent, and the one to beat. 1-2 for the Grade 1 Acorn.
They're coming down for the finish, and it is Silver State.
140,000.
Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Bet the final leg of the Triple Crown no matter where you are with Naira Bets. Available nationwide, Naira Bets is the official betting app of the Belmont Stakes with video streaming, weekly promotions, and an easy-to-use betting interface. Celebrate the historic first Belmont Stakes at Saratoga Racecourse and be part of the action with Naira Bets. Scan now for your free $25 Belmont Stakes bet, plus a $200 deposit match for new members.
Olympiad leads American Revolution. Olympiad gets the gold in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
You have to be here to feel the rumble from 40,000 race fans. Mixed with the Pacific breeze, you have to be here to taste extravagance and witness greatness, race after race after race. You have to be here to take home a memory you'll have forever. This November, when the world's best come to Del Mar, you have to be here.
Just FYI, 2-length lead. Jody's Pride running a valiant one. Just FYI by a length close to home. Just FYI, and Junior Alvarado, undefeated champions.
But
holding on in desperate fashion, the Celebration Junior Alvarado Championship clinching performance. Just FYI in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies at Santa Anita. Richie, live look, just FYI. The good news, the title, the championship. Bad news in 2 starts, she has not won since.
She hasn't won since, but she had some interruption in her training over the winter. She missed what was supposed to be her first start. Ran well in the Ashland, ran well in the Kentucky Oaks. I just think she ran into a superior rival in Torpedo Anna. And one thing about Just FYI, she's actually grown a bit. She's gotten taller. She looks like she's gotten a bit longer. But she hasn't really filled out into herself. She doesn't carry a great deal of weight.
A more narrow frame as you see the updated odds. Just FYI at 9-2. This is the DK Horse Acorn, right? Grade 1 events. Let's check in with Acacia, standing by with Johnny Avello, Director of Race and Sportsbook Operations at DraftKings.
I'm joined by Johnny Avello, Director of Racing Sports Operations with DK Horse. And Johnny, we're so happy to have DK Horse as supporters. Can you tell us a little bit about the partnership here with Belmont Stakes Weekend?
Yeah, you know, we started last year, Acacia. You and I had this conversation, and we sponsored Jim Dandy. And it was our first year, and we said, you know, we're going to do bigger and better things next year. And here we are doing the Acorn and the Travers Stakes a little bit later this summer.
And I understand there's some big things coming with the DK Horse app.
Oh, yes. We've been growing that also. We have a single sign-on now where you can use your DK account. First of all, you have to download the app because it's separate. So then you can use your DraftKings credentials to sign on. And then hopefully soon here, we'll have a shared wallet where everything will be integrated into one app. So we're looking forward to that.
Some great stuff for sure, and we're really excited for the DK Horse Acorn later today, which is a phenomenal race. Got any opinions for us?
Let's see, for your information, Acacia?
I see what you did there.
That could be one, and then maybe I have a horse that could be my main squeeze could also squeeze in there and take a piece of it too. So I'm looking at a little one and a big one.
I like it. Going a little bit of an upset, just FYI, in my main squeeze. Johnny, thanks so much.
You're welcome. Good seeing you again.
Very, very slick. Johnny, very slick. DK Horse, Acorn to the Belmont Stakes here. Lots of wagering opportunities. Love these 2-day wagers. JK, the Acorn to the Belmont Stakes. You're playing. Let's see the ticket.
Ice cold. I'm going to go with the 4 Just FYI. I want to say this, too. That's a darn good name. Justified, Just FYI, outstanding name. I'm going to use her just in this race. I think there's just some value to be had with the 9 Torpedo Anna taking as much money as she is. And then Mindframe. That's my pick tomorrow. I think that horse has the highest ceiling. We'll never get 4-1, 5-1 on that horse again if he wins tomorrow.
Andy, same approach. Copying, ripping JK's work again.
Well, I don't want somebody up here to not be a chalk-eating weasel. And usually it's Jonathan. And in my case, I am going to have the chalk-eating weasel double. But I'm going to make a 2x2 here. I'm going to use the 6, Where's My Ring, was my upset choice in here, as well as the 9 Torpedo Anna. And I'm going to go into the favorite, Sierra Leone, but also the number 2 in the race, Resilience, who I like in the Belmont Stakes. So obviously, I hope to get my money back, basically, if it chalks out. And if something else happens in here, because the other horses are prices, even if the favorite wins the other leg, I can make some money in here.
DK Horse Acorn to the Belmont Stakes, presented by Naira Bets. Odds on Torpedo Anna. Horses in the paddock here. Just FYI, pictured at 4-1. The Gazelle, Andy at Aqueduct. Where's My Ring here? Putting on show. And on the strength of this effort, onto the Kentucky Oaks, where she was 11-1. But this Gazelle win, stellar.
Perfect trip or not, she did run a very good race, and I think the thing you have to like about her is how she'd improved so much in her charts, in her 3 starts leading up to this. And she also gets flattered the Kentucky Oaks when Regulatory Risk, who finishes a distant second, runs a very respectable third. She did not handle the track. Something went wrong in that race. And I think when you look at the Oaks, to me, Leslie's Rose and Where's My Ring were both good horses coming in that just didn't run their races. John and I disagree a little bit. I thought Just FYI had every chance to win that race and just wasn't good enough. I'm not sure yet that Where's My Ring or Leslie's Rose couldn't be good enough, especially in a fast track.
On that afternoon, they couldn't catch Torpedo Anna and jockey Brian Hernandez. Kentucky Oaks winning jockey live with Acacia en route to the paddock.
Ready to reunite with his dance partner, Torpedo Anna. Brian, this is a filly that has been so dominant in her races. What's she like to ride?
She's just a lot of fun. She's always been forward, and she gets a little anxious in the post parade and stuff like that. But when we turn around and it's time to head to the gate, she puts a game face on, and she just she makes my job really easy just because she puts herself in a position to just give her a good trip and go from there.
She used her speed in the Oaks last time out. What's the game plan today from the outside post?
That's the thing. We have the outside today. We'll leave there. You know, she's a filly that wants to be forward, but at the same time, we don't necessarily have to be on the lead. So we'll, you know, it's a short run into the first turn here, going the 1 1/8. So we'll just kind of try to go forward the first part of the race and see where she places herself.
It was such a huge weekend at Churchill for you and Kenny McPeek with the Oaks and Derby. Ready for another one?
Yeah, let's hope so.
Lafitte?
A jockey's dream. Richie, can you expand on that? For a rider in 24 hours, the sweep of the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby accomplished by Brian Hernandez.
2 horses that are very easy to ride. They get their position. They break well. They're shifty. You don't need a particular trip, but they're going to be forward, so it's going to lend themselves to good trips. And he joined very elite company to win the Oaks and the Derby. And the last trainer-jockey duo to do that with 2 legendary names, Ben Jones and Eddie Arcaro.
In a long time back in the 50s. We check in with Maggie.
We'll check in with the 2 favorites in here, beginning with Torpedo Anna. And I can just give Brian Hernandez the high five for basically doing my job for me, because yes, in the prelims, she does get a bit revved up. Not quite as much as when I saw her 2 back going into that fantasy, but again, I think she's taking her racing a little bit more in stride, and physically she looks tremendous here. I like what I'm seeing from her. As we'll take a look at her main rival in Just FYI. Going back and watching that race, I agree with what Andy said. She had every opportunity to get by her rival and just couldn't. And as Richie also mentioned, she's a bit of a lighter framed individual. It's a lot about legs and angles with Just FYI. But I love the way that she's moving heading into this race. Watching her last workout, which was by herself, yes, only 10 other works that day. She was the best of them in 101 and 1/5. And she just never looked like she was even out of a gallop and was able to achieve that time. So I think she's moving incredibly well. And now she is 3rd off the bench. So oftentimes we will see the best effort from these horses in that form cycle. The horse that made the best impression on me, though, is number 5, My Main Squeeze. I know the cutback worked very nicely for her last time out in the 8 Bells, but going back to that fantasy where she was no match for Torpedo Anna, she got really revved up that day and just seemed utterly unsettled the entire time in the paddock and out on the racetrack. And today, while she's gotten a little bit more on it since they put the tack on and those blinkers on her face, she's still much more calm and focused, and physically she does not look like she could be doing any better, Lafitte.
My Main Squeeze, 8 Bells winner at Churchill Downs a couple of hours before the Kentucky Oaks. Another look at FYI, the reigning 2-year-old filly champ, Andy. So why might today be different? Why could she turn the tables on Torpedo Anna in the Acorn?
Maybe she didn't love the wet track in Kentucky, and maybe the dry track will help her. And I think you also have to consider the possibility, not that she's not good enough, that Torpedo Anna relished the wet track that day, and maybe she won't have as big an advantage in New York, in Bill Mott's home court.
Hall of Famer Bill Mott, that is Kentucky Oaks, Kentucky Derby, the winning tandem. Kenny McPeek, Brian Hernandez, can they do it again? They dominated 5 weeks ago in Louisville, now in New York with the Acorn coming up shortly with Torpedo Anna, and tomorrow, Kentucky Derby winner Mystic Dan in the Belmont Stakes. As our coverage continues from Saratoga Racecourse, 24 hours out to the first ever Belmont at the Spa.
Zandon's Poetry in Motion. Big horse, but light on his feet. And he's always showed up and been consistent and been right there with some of the top horses in training. In the Bluegrass Stakes, he showed his determination and his raw ability.
It's over. Zandon wins the Toyota Bluegrass.
I feel breeders will be really blown away by what a striking, outstanding looking horse he is.
Downtown for Blues Traveler. It was packed for this free concert. Imagine the scene, Andy, like in the 70s, Belmont Stakes at Saratoga and the Dead Plate downtown on Broadway.
I'd probably still be downtown wandering around trying to find my pants.
Thankfully, it never came to fruition. Thankfully. Blues Traveler, what a show. All part of the festivities, all leading up to the 156th Belmont Stakes, and we're getting closer to this Grade 1 DK Acorn 3-year-old fillies drawn inside in Power Squeeze and Javier Castellano.
I got to be honest, all I can think about is Andy's pants.
Appreciate that.
Number 3 at 5-1 here. Leslie's Rose. Arad Ortiz looking for a 5th on the afternoon.
Todd Pletcher, a little scare when the rain blew through. He's glad to see a fast track. And if she runs back to her Ashland, she is a major player in this race.
Just FYI, highly decorated dual Grade 1 winner.
I'm trying to make an excuse, but the oldest axiom I can remember about handicapping is third off a layoff.
Have a couple of those doing that in this Acorn. My Main Squeeze here, and Maggie liked what she saw in the paddock.
I think she's a very good horse. The question is she really want 1 mile and 1/8, or is she going to be better cutting back to 7 furlongs in a race like the Test on Whitney Day?
Where's My Ring? A sluggish start in the Oaks, and it cost her.
Yeah, this daughter of Twirling Candy ran extremely well in the Gazelle, and that was her maiden win in that Gazelle.
Regulatory Risk, Powerhouse Connections.
She has to get better to win this race, but she has taken real strides forward in her last 2 races. Maybe there's another improvement in the making.
Same can be said for Gunsong. There she is, Black-Eyed Susan, winner Preakness, the day before the Preakness.
Yeah, comes back off of short rest compared to the rest of them. 3 weeks since that Black-Eyed Susan.
Torpedo Anna, odds on 4-5. 46 opponents faced, 45 opponents defeated.
She is the horse to beat, and if she runs back, to a race, the Kentucky Oaks, they're not going to beat her.
Trained by Kenny McPeek, standing by live with Acacia.
As Torpedo Anna will try to pick up another big win here. Kenny, you and I were just talking about the way that she's acting. You said this is just typical of her, but overall, you're pleased with what you saw?
Yeah, for sure. She did this at Oakland, and she gets a little wound up, and she's a very high-energy filly, and that's very normal for her. But Brian knows her well, and he'll get her calmed down out there. She actually does better once the saddle goes on. And we didn't get a lot of opportunities to school here because you can't emulate. They've got a holding barn, which we go through, and you've got to walk there and wait, and then you come through here. And we didn't get to see the paddock much with her because of the hours that they offered, which were, for me, they didn't work because I didn't want to knock her out of her feed tub. But she's doing great.
She's been so dominant in her performances. I just spoke to Brian Hernandez, and he said that she makes my job easy. What's it like training a filly like her?
Well, ultra special. I mean, fast is good, right? And she can go far. So hopefully today she backs up her previous races and does what she does well. And Brian knows her like the back of his hand, and we're excited.
You described her as a grizzly before the Oaks. So what's the feeling today?
I think she might even be better. I think she's moving forward from her first 2 races. And usually for me, first couple of races are good, and then the third race is even better, and hopefully the fourth is even better. But she'll need that. This is still a good group.
Look forward to seeing her. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you.
Lafitte?
Even better? Richie, that's scary given what we saw in the Fantasy at Oaklawn and the Kentucky Oaks the first Friday in May at Churchill Downs from Torpedo Anna.
I think both of Kenny McPeek's horses, Torpedo Anna, his Oaks winner, and his Derby winner, Mystic Dan, have done sensational since they got to Saratoga. I was here for her final work on Saturday morning, and she never left the bridle and always wanted to do more. There was that enthusiasm that you want to see, that energy level, and she's carrying really good weight for a horse that comes off a very hard effort in the Kentucky Oaks.
Odds-on favorite, Torpedo Anna, JK. You're trying to beat her with just FYI to her inside Leslie's Rose. If nothing else, JK, you go with a hot hand and Arad Ortiz. I don't know how that ankle's feeling, but he's riding just fine and racking up win after win.
Yeah, I was never really crazy about Leslie's Rose going into the Kentucky Oaks. And to be frank, I'm not really crazy about her here in this Acorn. I might get a little bit more excited about her in about 8 weeks or so when we get to the Alabama, going 1.25 miles. I think that's more of her ball game. I thought she was advantageously ridden in this race to get where she got. I just don't know if she's as good as just FYI when she shows up, or what we saw from Torpedo Anna and the Kentucky Oaks.
At least a better post today than the Kentucky Oaks, Andy, for Leslie's Rose.
Well, obviously, but also the dry track will help. And I'm also surprised she's 5-1. And maybe that's a little bit of the Irad Ortiz factor, as horses always take money. I think she's an interesting horse at 8-1. 5-1, she can win, but she'll win without me.
Showing post time, but you still have a few moments to fire up that Naira Bets account if you don't have one. Now would be a good time to sign up. And when you do so, use that promo code STAKES25 for your free $25 bet and $200 deposit match. Sign up at NairaBets.com. Andy, anything else surprise you in the wagering?
I'm a little surprised that Torpedo Anna is 3-5, 3-4 right now, and she'll pay $350 if she wins. I thought maybe the 8-5 morning line a little bit high on her, but I'm surprised she's odds on in here. This is a good field of horses, and she's got to do it against them on a dry track.
Top class 3-year-old fillies. We check in with Acacia.
And Lafitte, I've become a big fan of Torpedo Anna, and if what Kenny McPeek said is true and she's now better than she was in the Kentucky Oaks, it's a bit of a scary thought. I've gotten a chance to see her train up here in Saratoga, and she's been flourishing since being up here at the spa and the way that she's been covering the ground. I'm going to use her, though, underneath with Where's My Ring, hoping that she can run back and be forwardly placed to what we saw from her in the Gazelle. Maggie, what are you seeing trackside?
Be okay. Okay. Well, taking a look out here at your favorite, Torpedo Anna. And what Kenny said is accurate. I mean, she is a horse that does get herself fairly revved up. And honestly, she settled when she got out here on track. And Brian Hernandez, like he said, just doing well by her. You know, asked her to kind of bow her head, concentrate, keep her focus on her lead pony. And she's done just that. I'm so excited to see what she does here today. Now, a horse that didn't get much of a warm-up, but albeit away from the pony, was number 6, Where's My Ring. Now, this is a horse that consistently has worked fast. It comes in with several quick breezes down there at Churchill. I think she's a horse that is very one-paced. So I'm hoping that Tyler, despite that low-level energy warm-up, gets her in position because she looks as though she's doing great, and a horse that I've always had respect for. So I'm hoping, Lafitte, that she can be more forward than she was in that Oaks.
You give her a puncher's chance, Richie. Where's my ring?
I do, but you got to watch her at the break. She's never very handy away from the gate. If she gets away cleanly, it's going to set up her trip. If she breaks a little slow, which she has a tendency to do, it's going to hurt her chances.
Cost her in the Oaks. Quickly, Richie, Torpedo Anna. Brian Hernandez, what does he want to do from the outside?
Got to come out running. The horse that the other speed could be the 8 right inside of him. Maybe he follows her over. But leaving with that short run of the far turn, got to come out running.
Last to load, odds-on favorite. Post time for the DK horse Acorn, Grade 1, live from Saratoga on Fox Sports 1. Here's Frank Miramati.
The 2-day pick 6 only did 1.
They're in the gate. And they're off in the DK horse Acorn. And just FYI, flashing plenty of early zip right out of the gate, as is Leslie's Rose along the inside, but it's just FYI to set the pace. Leslie's Rose on the inside is a close-up second, and Torpedo Anna inches up outside of her and takes that second spot. Just in behind them, it's Gunsong and My Main Squeeze right together. Another 2 to Regulatory Risk, followed by Power Squeeze. And Where's My Ring at the back of the field. 23-2 for the opening quarter mile. Junior Alvarado controlling the pace on Just FYI. Leading it by a length over Torpedo Anna in second. Then Gunsong, who has inched her way forward into third, and down at the rail, Leslie's Rose is fourth, just 3.5 lengths off the pace. Another 2 to My Main Squeeze as they now straighten up in 46 3/5 seconds to the half mile. It's another 3 lengths back to Regulatory Risk, who is joined by Where's My Ring, leaving Power Squeeze at the back of the field. Just FYI, Torpedo Anna launching up alongside in second. Just FYI, well within herself. Torpedo Anna is coming after her in second. Leslie's Rose trying to re-engage the top pair, has 3 lengths to make up. And then it's My Main Squeeze with a 1/4 mile to go, and Torpedo Anna is up to take the lead at the top of the stretch. Just FYI tries to shift to the outside. In the center of the racetrack, Leslie's Rose is closing, and My Main Squeeze is widest of all. A late bid from Power Squeeze, but it's Torpedo Anna. She is simply brilliant, putting them away in the DK horse Acorn. Another stellar performance from Torpedo Anna, who wins by 5 emphatic lengths. Leslie's Rose finished second. Power Squeeze was third. And a beautiful ride once again from Brian Hernandez Jr.
Again, could be a big weekend for these connections. Brian Hernandez Jr., Kenny McPeek, Torpedo Anna, sensational in the Acorn, and the Derby winner is still back in the barn awaiting the Belmont Stakes.
This is a very special filly, a real special talent. It was a fast pace. Just FYI, surprisingly showed improved speed, and Torpedo Anna kept her honest. She was right on top of her and then left her. And honestly, Torpedo Anna, I think, would give the boys all they could handle.
And I'll tell you something, you want to judge how well this filly ran. Look at Just FYI, who's backing up through the field. And Just FYI is a very, very good horse. She tried to outduel this horse in the front end. Torpedo Anna draws off to a 5-length win, and Just FYI finishes well back in the field. That was a fast pace. This is a good horse, guys.
I thought Torpedo Anna's Kentucky Oaks was very, very good. I thought her Acorn was sensational. You add those two together, we might be looking at a horse that could end up being pretty darn special.
What a performance. You'll hear from winning trainer Kenny McPeek. First, winning pilot Brian Hernandez with Maggie.
She is simply amazing, Brian. And we saw Junior Alvarado and Just FYI try to take you out of your game going to the lead. Did that surprise you?
It did surprise me a little because I thought she'd be behind us, but you know, I guess their thinking was the only way to beat us today was to try to take it to us. And the nice thing about it, my filly, she's just so versatile, and she's got so much class to her that she was able to just kind of cruise on the outside of her and just showed her dominance more than anything. You know, that's 2 races in a row now that she's just so dominant on everything she does. You have to be proud of her.
Absolutely. And while her Kentucky Oaks was simply breathtaking, talk about her performance today in this Acorn relative to that.
Yeah, you know, in the Oaks that day, we were able to put her in the lead, and just goes to show her versatility today. When she left as well as she did, and we were able to get to the tooth path around the first turn, I was pretty confident in her. I didn't know how far, just FYI, was going to take us because she was running at us in the Oaks. But like I said, when we got to the second turn, I kind of felt I had him over the barrel, and our filly was just traveling better than her.
Brian, trainer Kenny McPeak toyed with putting her in this year's Belmont Stakes, but Dan doing well enough to make it to the starting gate. Would she beat the boys?
She's answered every question we've thrown at her so far. I'm sure we'll find out eventually at some point. That'll be Kenny's decision, but we're just so proud of her and what she's done for us.
Well, Brian, you dominated Kentucky. You gonna dominate Saratoga?
Let's hope so. We'd really like an Acorn Belmont double. You know, that'd be the icing on the cake for the year. That's for sure.
Brian, congrats.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, Brian Hernandez, as he said, it sure would be sweet to take the double. Lafitte?
Mystic Dan, Belmont Stakes tomorrow. Richie, I'm guessing Ryan would like Kenny McPeak to keep those two as separated as long as possible.
I'm sure he does not want to make a choice. What a deserving guy Brian Hernandez is, though. Hardworking, no drama, just shows up and does his job extremely well.
It's going to be hard for her not to be the 3-year-old champion after these last two performances, but winning the Coaching Club American Oaks and or the Alabama locks her up. Those will be one of her next starts.
And they're very prestigious races. There's no hurry to face the boys. Let her do her number on these horses. Believe me, the girls would like to see her face the boys.
All these graded stakes wins, the Oaks, the Acorn, she still hasn't felt the crop. You see the crop, uncocked, never needed it. Brian Hernandez, the pat on the shoulder, Torpedo Anna. She does it again in the DK Horse Acorn.
The rumbling started early and only intensified, with performances that sent shockwaves across the nation. At the center of it all,
Epicenter is at the top of the 3-year-old class in the Run Happy Travers.
Epicenter, 3-year-old champion by Not This Time. Coolmore America, home of champions.
When it comes to your truck, you can power it up 6 ways to Sunday. But if you want to get things done, start with the capability of Ford F-150. Gas, power boost hybrid, or all electric. The power is yours.
At Three Chimneys, our name is our promise. Our commitment to quality, our customer, and most importantly, the horse, is at the heart of who we are. For over half a century, the Storied Stallion Station and Nursery have been a place where dreams are born. From Horse of the Year, the mighty Seattle Slew, to Horse of the Year and modern-day breed shaper, Gunrunner, we've been defined these past 50 years by the company we've kept. Three Chimneys, where dreams are born.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
I made that comment about...
All right, so she felt the crop twice, Richie, but it sounded so much better if she hadn't.
But they were just love taps, little reminders to stay on her business.
Down to occasion with winning trainer Kenny McPeak.
That's funny.
Everything right. She really makes our job easy, and special horses help, and she's definitely that.
I know it's early right after the race, but do you think about taking on the boys?
I think about it, yeah. I actually really would have loved to run her tomorrow. But we're not going to do that. We're not going to run her against our stablemate. And, Mystic Dan certainly as good a job as he's had or season as he's had. We didn't want to take anything away from that. But she's special.
Look forward to him tomorrow. Congratulations here.
Thank you. More than likely, we'll see you in Alabama. Maybe the coaching club, depending on how she's doing.
All right, Lafitte, big plans for Torpedo Anna.
That'll work for Saratoga fans.
It won't work for the horses she's going to run against. Everybody there wanted to say now she's facing the boys.
What do you make of the comment, Richie, when Kenny McPeek says, like, I really wanted to run her tomorrow against the boys in the Belmont Stakes?
Well, he's already got a very live entrant in the Derby, in the Belmont Stakes, the Derby winner. So it's a nice dilemma to have, and you have the ability to keep them separate and win important races in their own right.
Some pretty good horses have won the Acorn over the years.
Champion, producing, Grade 1 event. Brian Hernandez and his wife there. And JK for this filly here, onward and upward. Torpedo Anna, and creating a lot of separation between herself and the rest in a chase for a 3-year-old filly title.
She runs one of those races this summer, it's a wrap. 3-year-old champion. It might already be a wrap, but if she wins one of those, it's a done deal.
And what about tomorrow? Turning the page to the 156 Belmont Stakes presented by Naira Bets here at Saratoga. 1.25 miles, 10 deep. Quickly, one final thought, 24 hours out from the Belmont Stakes.
Well, I think it's going to be a terrific addition to the Belmont. We got some very good horses. I'm really curious to see Sierra Leone with the new equipment.
I'm in Saratoga in the Belmonts tomorrow, and I'm going to be there. And that's pretty cool.
It's all good.
Sierra Leone, the favorite, defeated by a nose in the Derby. 9-5 morning line favorite for the Belmont Stakes tomorrow, 4 Eastern on Fox. Have a great night.